Greetings, Patriots. We are on lesson 8.3.4 where you're going to solve two-step equations with pictures. So again, we're still focusing on two-step equations except we're giving you models. I took a picture of a few of the models that we will be using. You can always draw them or refer to your guided notes as well. I will write and solve two-step equations given a picture is the focus of today's lesson. Let's go ahead and start off with our first model. When I write the following equation, this says that 3 times a number, 3x, plus 5 is equal to a negative 7. Okay? So if I just wanted to model and balance and show you how this all works, well, I know I have to undo, right, just like we've been doing, that positive 5. And the only way that I can undo that positive 5 is by bringing in a negative 5. Add 5, the inverse is minus 5. So if I were to bring in 5 negative, right, negative 5, what I do to one side, it's important that I do to the other. So I'm going to pretend that I had these little tiles and I'm bringing 5 of them over. Well, when I have a positive and negative, remember what you learned, this forms 0 pair and kind of simplifies itself out, okay? So when you do that, I get my 0 pairs. And that leaves me with 3x equals, so if you look here, there's no 0 pairs that are formed. So if you type in your calculator negative 5 minus 5, you're going to see that you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Negative 12. Your final step. So the first step is we subtracted 5. And since there's multiplication occurring, the inverse of multiplication is to divide by 3 on both sides. Or you could always ask, 3 times what number gives me a negative 12? So a negative 12 divided by a positive 3 is equal to a negative 4. You can always go back and check your solution by substituting it. So 3 times a negative 4 plus 5, if you type that into your Desmos calculator, that should equal negative 7. Negative 12 plus 5 is equal to negative 7, which is equal to negative 7 on both sides. So your solution works. So we're looking at a table, at a picture, and using that model to write our... Okay, next. And remember, I can represent x and positive ones in any format that I choose. Once again, here I have 3x, 3 unknowns. These are positive, so plus 4 equals 9. This is the equation that I've been given. So if I'm solving it, I don't have a whole lot of room over here. Again, since I'm adding 4, the first step is going to be to subtract 4. So I could bring in those negative, negative values, negative 1, another negative 1, another negative 1, and another negative 1. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. Because remember, this gives me 0 pairs. So negative 4 or minus 4 gives me 0 pairs. And this gives me 3 times a number equals 9 minus 4, which is equal to 5. Okay? So once again, if you think about this other side, you could have eliminated 4 0 pairs and been left with 5. Final step is, since multiplication is occurring, my job is going to be to divide by 3 on both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get 5 divided by 3. Okay? And that's going to actually give me a decimal value of x equals 1.6 repeating. Or you could leave it as x equals 5/3. Okay? Use your calculator if you need to. All right, next problem. Now what I've been given is the following. Here's my picture. And this time I've been given 4 times x minus 2. So notice whatever's on one side has to be equal to the other. So that equals negative 6 on this side. That means whatever x is worth, right, will balance everything out on both. You can see that balance beam. So again, if I'm subtracting by 2, my inverse operation is going to be to add 2 to both sides. I see that gives me 0 pair. 4 times a number equals a negative 6 plus a 2 will leave me with a negative 4. Use your calculator if you need to. So if I divide by 4 on both sides, since I was multiplying there, the inverse of that is to divide by 4. X is going to equal to negative 1. Okay, once again, you can substitute that. 4 times negative 1 minus 2 equals negative 6. If you multiply 4 times a negative 1, that's a negative 4. Minus a 2 does equal a negative 6 on both sides. And you can see that the unknown here has to represent negative 1, because when I do that, I have a negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, and I get negative 6 on this side, which is the same as the other side. Okay? Right, your turn, Patriots. Your job is to attempt to stop the video, write your equation, and then solve. Okay, welcome back. 2x minus 3 equals 9. First step, since subtraction is occurring, my job is to add 3 to both sides. That gives me a 0 pair. 2 times some number is equal to 12. Even though I can figure that out, since multiplication is occurring, your job is going to be to divide by that coefficient on both sides. And therefore, x is equal to 12. All right, go ahead and refer to your assignment on Schoology and take an opportunity to practice solving two-step equations. On your discussion question, I would like to see if you can write the equation tomorrow for the following. All right, Patriots, have a great day.